Yes, YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be covering the best 2 to 3 day split for people that are busy, who work long hours, who have a family, who are genuinely short for time. This split that I'm going to show you throughout this video is a split that's been tried and tested by me with many of my clients who are extremely busy and who are extremely strapped for time. So this plan that I'm going to show you is tried and tested. It's helped some of my clients to achieve great results by just training 2 to 3 days per week. So if you're struggling to find time for the gym, or you've been trying and you've not really been seeing great results, this video is going to be perfect for you. Now, this split is designed to help you build a lean, aesthetic physique, training just 2 to 3 days per week. Now, the main problem is that a lot of busy men think that you do actually need to go to the gym 5 to 6 times per week to see great results from what you're doing. And this couldn't be further from the truth. 2 to 3 days per week with good structure is more than enough, provided you are training accurately, you're training with intensity, you're doing the right things inside of the gym. Training 2 to 3 days per week with poor or no structure, that is not going to help you see great results. So if you are strapped for time, you need to ensure that with what you're doing inside the gym, it's incredibly efficient. It's exactly what I'm going to show you in today's video. The logic behind the plan, why I've structured it the way that I have. So you will train with adequate volume. You will hit every single muscle group in the body 2 to 3 times per week, which is more than enough to stimulate hypertrophy, so for you to actually build a good amount of muscle from what you're doing. This training split will also prioritize and optimize recovery, giving your body more than enough time to recover from those intense sessions so that you can get the most bang for your buck and you can see the best results from what you're doing. And again, linked to recovery, we will be optimizing adaptation. The perfect split of training volume coupled with the perfect amount of rest days to help you recover from your sessions hard, but to also help you recover to the point where every time you head into the gym to train, you are feeling fresh, you're firing, you're ready to attack your sets. Because ultimately, if you are strapped for time and you can only train 2 to 3 days per week, training with intensity and training hard is going to be a key driver for you to actually see good progress. Now then, people, the split in question is full body. So whether you train 2 or whether you train 3 times per week, full body is going to be your best bet, allowing you to accumulate enough training volume over the course of a week to stimulate a really good amount of hypertrophy. But again, because you are strapped for time, this split is going to be the most effective for you to build as much muscle as you physically can with the time that you've got available. So the main focus with each of these sessions is to maximize the stimulus, maximize the tension on the target muscle. So with this 2 to 3 day split, you are going to be stimulating the muscles enough so that you can induce a good amount of hypertrophy, but you're also giving yourself enough time to recover so that you don't burn out. From a structural point of view, the 3 key areas that are going to help you to maximize the results from what you're doing. Number 1, training intensity. So with the exercise and the set and the rep structure that you've got, you need to ensure that you are training in proximity to muscular failure, because if you aren't, you're leaving growth on the table. So ensure that you are training with intensity to failure and that you are maintaining good form, that you are standardizing your form so each rep looks the exact same. Number 2, recovery. So it's important that you go into the gym and you train really hard, but recovering hard is also incredibly important because that's where 99% of growth happens. So if you're having inadequate sleep, your sleep hygiene is poor, you're not sleeping much, your hydration isn't on point, your recovery is not going to be optimal, which means you're going to be taking away from your results, taking away from your progress. So sleep well, hydrate well, stay on top of your electrolytes, and then you'll be in the best spot with recovery. On to point number 3. So we've got tracking. So tracking your food to ensure that you're on point from a nutritional standpoint. So you're operating either in a deficit or you're operating in a surplus. And then tracking your lifts. So logging your lifts week to week, tracking them meticulously, knowing the lift that you lifted in the previous session so you know what to beat during this session so that you can apply progressive overload, which in turn is going to help you to incur a greater level of stimulus on the target muscle, which means that you are going to build more muscle in the long run. Yes then, people, so we are going to be looking at the 2 day split first. Now essentially for the 2 and the 3 day split, we're going to be looking at training full body. So you'll do your full body every single session. Doing this means that you're going to accumulate a good amount of volume for all body parts. Drop a pen. For all body parts over the course of a week, which is going to give you the best chance to see good progress even though you're not in the gym every single day during the week. So the main focus with these sessions is to prioritize compound lifts, so lifts that incorporate more than one muscle group, just so you get the most bang for your buck from what you're doing. So we've got a squat. This can be any variation of squat, so Smith machine squat, hack squat, barbell squat. And then we've got dumbbell or machine lat raise, so to hit the shoulders. Obviously, if you've got a machine, I would typically opt to use a machine because it's a little bit more effective than using a dumbbell. Incline press for the chest, so for the upper chest, an incline press typically recruits more muscle fibers across the whole chest as opposed to flat or decline presses, so again, you're going to get the most bang for your buck with an incline press. We've got a pull-up or a barbell row. You can also do a horizontal machine row, but I would opt for pull-ups or barbell rows as they will include more muscle groups. They're a little bit more taxing, they're a little bit more effective to target more than just one muscle group. Next up, we've got an RDL to target the lower back and the hamstrings. We've got a preacher curl for the biceps, tricep press down for the triceps, and then a rope ab crunch for our abs. Now, these movements can be swapped around. Now, the order should really stay the same. I've ordered the session in this way to help manage fatigue, so that when you finish your squat, do a dumbbell or a machine lat raise, which is a little bit lighter. It gives your CNS and your body time to recover. And then you've got an incline press, which again isn't too taxing. Pull-ups and barbell rows will be taxing. RDLs will be a little bit taxing. And then obviously you'll finish the movement off with preacher curls, tricep press down, and ab crunch, which are all quite okay. So you need to be meticulous with your tracking, logging your weights every single session, reps, sets. Record your form doing these exercises so you can have a look and see where you need to improve and see which exercises you need to improve on. That wraps up full body session number 1 for the 2-day split. Right then, on to full body session number 2. Again, focusing on compound lifts. So kicking the session off with barbell deadlift. So you can do any variation of deadlift. I would typically opt for a barbell deadlift. Now, after this, we've got an overhead press. Any form of overhead press that you prefer. So standing barbell, seated machine press, seated dumbbell press, whatever you prefer. Seated hamstring curl, again, just to help target the hamstrings in that shortened range. A lat pull down or row, alternate from session 1. So if in session 1 you did pull-ups, do a row in session 2. If in session 1 you did a row, do a lat pull down in session number 2. Dips, so this is chest focused dip, so you can add some weight, you can use the assisted machine, whatever works for you. Bulgarian split squats, we've got a flat machine press, incline curls to target the biceps, and then a row pull down too, and then some knee raises to finish off. So again, this session has been structured in a way that allows you to recover adequately after every single exercise, and it allows you to hit your next exercise as hard as you possibly can, because you should be fully recovered from the exercise before. Again, with this session, be meticulous with your tracking, follow this order, and you'll be hitting every muscle group with adequate volume over the course of a week, and you'll be growing. You'll be building some muscle, provided your diet is on point too. That's the 2-day split wrapped up. I'm going to throw a 3rd session on here just in case you do have time. If you can only train 2 or 3 times per week, full body is really what you should be doing, especially if you are beginner to sort of intermediate. Full body is where you are going to get the most bang for your buck. And at this stage, you'll still be learning about how to train balls to the wall and train with pretty much maximal intensity. So the more that you can get into the gym with optimal recovery, with good recovery, the better, because the more reps you do, the better you're going to get, the quicker you're going to learn. At this stage, if you are short for time, you can still get in and do a good amount of volume to stimulate growth, help you build some muscle. Now then, full body day number 3. So we've got a day here that's mainly targeted towards chest, back and legs. So we've got leg extension to kick things off for the quads, cable lat raise for the shoulders, dumbbell incline press to hit all of those fibers in the pecs, especially the upper fibers. We've got a bent over dumbbell row for the upper back, which is obviously going to help train our erectors a little bit as well when you are stabilizing the weight. Leg press, if you put your feet a little bit higher on the platform, you will hit a little bit of your hamstrings as well as the quads. If you would like to shift a little bit of focus onto the hamstrings, which I think would be sensible because we do have a leg extension in here too, put your feet a little bit higher up on the platform just so you can place a little bit of tension on those hamstrings, because we don't have any direct hamstring work in this session. We've got an underhand lat pull down, which is going to help us to primarily target the lats while still hitting those biceps a little bit. We've got a pec fly to finish off and fry the pecs. Overhead rope extension to target the triceps, hit that long head. And then we've got some ab crunches, cable ab crunch or rope ab crunch, something on a cable machine so you can overload the weight and apply progressive overload for your abs, because you need to do that. And then finishing off with some knee or leg raises. So 3 sessions there. If you can only train 2 or 3 times per week, these sessions are absolutely great to help you get a lot of volume in for every single body part. If you follow the structure that I've given you throughout these sessions, 1, 2 and 3, or just 1 and 2, you're going to be training really effectively. Provided you are training hard, you're training to failure, you're going to be doing more than enough inside the gym to help you to build muscle. It's just what you do outside of the gym which is going to dictate if you actually do build muscle, whether you're in a surplus, if your recovery is on point. So those are the 3 sessions wrapped up. I'm now going to talk about how to structure your sets and reps. Now then, sets and reps, incredibly important that your sets and reps are structured in a way that makes it easy for you to apply progressive overload. Remember, if you're trying to build muscle in the gym, progressive overload is the aim of the game. You need to be increasing the weight, doing more reps, or improving your form week on week if you want to actually build muscle. For us to build muscle, we need to place our muscles under novel stimulus, which essentially means stimulus that it's not been placed under before. So you need to make the reps more effective. You either need to lift more weight or you need to do more reps. As I've already mentioned a couple of times before, be meticulous with your tracking. Make a note of all the exercises, the sets, the rep ranges, log it on an app, and make sure that you are heading into every single set knowing exactly what you lifted in the previous session. Compound lifts are movements that involve more than one muscle group. So for example, your deadlifts, your leg press, things like that. So with compound lifts, you want 2 sets. The first set will be a top set, so a heavy set of 6 to 10 reps, making sure your form is on point. Your goal is to fail within that rep range, within the 6 to 10 rep range. Once you've done that set, you're taking a couple of minutes rest. You will do a back off set, which is your second set. So typically for a back off set, you will aim between 10 and 15 reps, and you will typically drop the weight 10 to 15% from your top set. So if for your top set, you did a 100 kilogram bench press for 10 reps, typically you would drop it by 10 to 15%. So let's say 15%. On your back off set, you would do an 85 kilo bench press, and you would aim to fail within the 10 to 15 rep range. If you are training and you've picked a weight that's a little bit too light and you get to the top end of your set, so let's say you're doing your top set, you get to 10 reps and you can keep going, do not stop. Keep going until you reach failure. If you get to the top end 10 reps and it is incredibly light, you're thinking, I could do another 15 reps, stop. Take a couple of minutes breather, up the weight, and then go again and take your top set again. If you're doing a top set and you're aiming to get around 6, 7, 8 reps, your first rep should look really challenging. It should be a genuine struggle. If you're doing a chest press, a bench press, your first rep, if you're aiming for a top set of 6, should not look like that. You should re-rack the bar and it should be a little bit of a struggle. You should notice some struggle in there. If you unrack the weight and it's genuinely light as a feather, put it back down, up the weight and go again. Now then, for isolation exercises, you want to pick 2 to 3 sets now on muscle groups that you do want to prioritize. So for example, if you want to work on your chest and your delts, I would advise picking 3 sets for those muscle groups. So the muscle groups that you do want to prioritize as opposed to everything else, pick 3 sets. More volume should equate to a little bit more growth provided your reps are of good quality and you are applying progressive overload. For everything else, 2 sets, top set and back off set structure. For isolations, I prefer keeping the reps a tiny bit higher than on compound, so 8 to 12 for a top set. Back off set number 1, 10 to 15. You can play around with these rep ranges as well. Like on some of the exercises on my plan, my top set is 8 to 10, my back off set is 10 to 12, my back off set number 2 is 12 to 15, some of them 15 to 20, so you can have a little play around with that. But just make sure that from your top set to back off set number 1, you're dropping the weight 10 to 15%, and then from back off set number 1 to back off set number 2, you are dropping the weight another 10 to 15%. And your goal with the plan that you've got should always be to fail within the given rep range. If you're doing a set and you get to the top end of that rep range or a little bit past, you know that next week you need to up the weight a little bit and aim to fail within that rep range again. And that's progressive overload. If you're watching this video, clearly you are having some problems with your split. Now, with whatever you do inside the gym, as I've already mentioned a few times, progressive overload needs to be at the forefront of your mind. You need to be going in, knowing what you lifted last session and aiming to beat it this session. That's exactly how you're going to see progress. That's an indicator that we are building muscle, that we are getting stronger over time with the same lifts. That's how we're building muscle. Next up, diet. So again, it's all good and well you training hard inside the gym, you trying to progress, but you need your diet to accommodate your lifting. So it would help massively if you are in a little bit of a surplus, a healthy surplus. Aiming to hit 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, 40 to 50 grams of healthy fats coming from things like avocado, eggs, dark chocolate, olive oil, and then fill the rest of your calories with carbs, good carbs. So potatoes, rice, cream of rice, oats, sourdough bread. Follow those rules with your diet, you can't really go too far wrong. Recovery, so making sure your recovery is optimized. So 8 hours of quality sleep per night, that is 8 hours of sleep, not 8 hours in bed. And then again, with your diet and your training, you need to be on top of tracking. So be meticulous with your tracking. The more data you've got on a day-to-day basis of what you're doing, the more accurate the gauge is of where the issues are or what's not going right. Like if you track your steps, your calories, protein, carbs, fats, and your lifts every single session, and your sleep as well, if something is a little bit off or you're not seeing the results that you want, it's going to be very easy for you to pinpoint what's wrong or what needs altering. For example, if you're trying to build muscle and you're going into the gym and you're tracking your lifts and your sleep is on point, but you're not feeling very fueled in the gym and your body weight's been stalled for a couple of weeks, clearly there's an issue with your diet. You're going into the gym, you're training hard, you're sleeping 8 hours a night, you're recovering really well. Your diet will be the problem area. Give yourself some more calories, some more protein, some more carbs. See what happens after a week. And if your scale weight still doesn't go up, then I would consider upping the calories again. And I'm sure after that second bump up, if the first one didn't work, you will start to see your scale weight shoot up. And then it's just rinse and repeat. But if you are guessing and you don't have any of this data to look at, it's going to be really hard for you to know what's actually gone wrong, what actually needs changing or adjusting. So the key to progression is apply progressive overload, consume a healthy diet that actually accommodates your training, optimize your recovery, so ensure that you are sleeping 8 hours per night and you stay hydrated, and then be meticulous with your tracking. If you can do all of that, you genuinely can't go too far wrong. So then people, just to recap, we have covered full body workouts 1, 2 and 3. So you've got the perfect or pretty much perfect, let's say incredibly effective 2 or 3 day splits. If you're a busy man, you're really short for time and you just want an effective training split to follow. But for this training split to work and for you actually to see great results from what you're doing, you need to be applying progressive overload, and this really is key. So it's not just about applying progressive overload. You need to be training hard inside the gym. If you want to build muscle, you need to be pushing yourself inside the gym. You also need the diet to accommodate that. So eating hyperpalatable ultra-processed foods that are incredibly unhealthy, they're going to slow down digestion, they're going to make you feel lethargic. They are not going to help you out with your training. They are not going to help you to see results. Stick to a healthy diet, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, 40 to 50 grams of healthy fats, and good sources of carbs. Track, be meticulous with your tracking, your sleep, your steps, your calories, your training. Everything needs to be tracked. Make a note of all of that data. And as I mentioned before, train hard inside the gym. If you can follow that sort of structure with a little bit of leeway for human error, if you have a little meal here, out and there, or you miss a session here and there, or you forget to track a day, you'll be absolutely fine. Remember, the aim of the game here is not to be perfect. The aim of the game here is to stay consistent in the long term. That's what will grant you the results. So if you're a busy guy and you want to look incredible but can't spend 5-6 days per week in the gym, this is your blueprint. 2 or 3 days a week, consistent effort, proper structure, and a plan that you can follow day in and day out to help you to get to where you want to be. If you found this helpful, drop me a like, drop me a sub, drop me a comment with the word full body, and I'll send you over a plan completely for free. That's it for this video, peeps. Catch you in the next one. Peace.